Shalom. Shalom. All right, that's great. All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Times of Doc coming back with another lesson. More witnesses edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone, the rule and teach well. Peace and safety and much blessings to the Yakim that's pushing this truth at the four corners of the earth and our truth, sincerity, and diligence. Shalom. All right, I want to get into this topic. Timothy's father. All right, when you read Acts the 16th chapter, because Christians, they try to, these so-called Christians, right? Because the true Christians are the ones that, believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahshai and serving the Lord to the best of their ability, according to the scriptures. All right. But these modern day Christians, what they try to do is that they try to find a way to, sneak Esau in there, man. Okay. To try to incorporate themselves in the blessings and the covenants, that's to come to the nation of Israel. Okay. But however, we know in Amos that the Lord said he only deal with the nation of Israel. So therefore he shall punish you for your iniquities, O nation of Israel, just roughly paraphrasing the scriptures. And he sheweth only his word. Matter of fact, let's just go get it. Sheweth only his word. I want to say that's Leviticus 26. This is Leviticus 26 and 46. Let me see if y'all can see that. I want to make sure my screen is sharing too. Okay. So this is Leviticus 26 and 46. It says, these are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses. So the Lord only deals with the nation of Israel. That's it. He only shewed his statutes and his judgments and his laws to the nation of Israel. And we know Malachi 3. Malachi. Oh wait, no. Is it Malachi 3 and 6? It says, "For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." And also in the book of Hebrews 13 and 8, it says, "Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the same yesterday and today and forever." Right? So, oh, look, bam, it says, "Be not carried away." So, like, be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines, right? For it is a good thing that thy heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. All right, and not with meats, all these different doctrines. Okay. So, to say that, like these Christians like to say that Timotheus, just that's an inside joke, was a Greek, right? Meaning implying that he would be of another nation, right? That's a different and strange doctrine. And it says Hamashiach the same yesterday, today, and forever. So Hamashiach, his will is to do the Heavenly Father's will, right? So he's in the same mindset as the Heavenly Father, because let's just get John 17. John 17 and John 17 and 22 is I'm gonna start at 18. It says, "As thou hast sent me into the world, as thou hast sent me," and this is Yahweh Shah speaking, "as thou hast sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world." All right, talking about the elect. Okay, "For their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through truth. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word. Okay, because the scripture says that you be able to save your souls and them that hear thee. Just roughly paraphrasing the scripture. Okay, it says verse 22. Verse 21, it says that they all may be one as thou, Father, art in me and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me, and the glory which thou givest me, I've given them, that they may be one even as we are. You see? So, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai are one, meaning that they have the same mindset, the same vibration. Okay? You see? So, the doctrine, is going to be the same. All right? So, the Lord has only been, is, and will only deal with the nation of Israel. You see? So, going to Acts, the 16th chapter, and Christians, so-called Christians, they break this down very, very, very wrong. All right? So, let's just get into it. It says, this is Acts 16:1. It says, then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, right, and believed. So she was a Jewess and believed, all right. But his father was a Greek. Now Christians will read this. Christians will read this and think that that's saying that, oh, he was a Greek, so he was a so-called white man. Listen, Greek is, to call yourself as Greek, that's not a nationality, right? That's just a way of life, all right? Being a Greek doesn't mean that that's a nationality, right? The first Greeks was Japhet, all right? But Alexander the Greek, he conquered conquered Japhet, right? The Japhites, okay? You see, and we're gonna get into that history, all right? But the Romans called them Greeks. See, before it was called Greek, they called themselves Hellenes, all right? That's what they called themselves. So the real word there is supposed to be Hellen, all right? So, and we finna get into this. So look, it says, then he came to Derbe, I'm gonna read it again, Derbe and Lystra, and behold, there was a certain disciple that was named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewish. Now let's just deal with that. All right, let's go into that. So she was a Jewish, right, and believed, but his father was a Greek. So if she was a Jewish, that means she believed in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. She believed in the scriptures. She believed in the fear of she feared the Lord. So she knew in that point in time, she knew that it was forbidden for her to deal with any other nation except a man of the nation of Israel. All right. So, I mean, in Christians, this passed right over their head. This is why the Bible is supposed to be broken down by the prophets. Lord willing, this is making sense. So let's just go to the commentary. I like to look at Matthew Henry. He be kind of on point sometime. So I'm gonna just get to the point right here. Jewish, right here, number 2. It says that his mother was a Jewess originally, but believed in Hamashiach. Her name was Eunice. His grandmother's name was Lois. Paul speaks of them both with great respect. So, which show you had women of the nation of Israel that were in order, that believed. All right, so you're gonna have women that are gonna believe. Right, you're gonna have women that truly fears the Lord. Okay, as women of eminent virtue and piety, and commends them especially for their unfeigned faith. They're sincerely embracing, adhering to the doctrine of Hamashiach. that his father, verse 3, it's not like I'm not going to read it like a scripture. It says, this is just a commentary. It says that his father was a Greek. See, and these Christians, they don't study. These modern day Christians, they don't study. They don't go into words. They don't do it, none of it. Okay. It says that his father was a Greek, a Gentile. The marriage of a Jewish woman to a Gentile husband was prohibited as much as the marriage of a Jewish man to a Gentile wife. Now, don't get caught up. Don't get your panties in the bunch here. Like, oh, see, y'all not supposed to be dealing with heathen women. Stop. When it says that, the marriage of a Jewish woman was prohibited to be with a Gentile man, like of another nation, that was unlawful. That was trash. That was garbage, right? Put to death kind of deal. You see, well, when it says that it was prohibited as much as the marriage of a Jewish man to a Gentile wife, now it's not saying that a Israelite man can't deal with the other nations, right? Because I mean, King Solomon, Moses dealt with Zipporah. You see what I'm saying? It's just saying you can't make marriage with them. Hey, but I thought sex was marriage. It is. But the point is, the technicality of it is if when you to marry a woman, to actually marry a woman, right? It's like you adopting. If you marry a heathen, you adopting their gods, right? You adopting their culture, well, their way of life, right? Bringing a heathen into the inheritance. No, that's not that was forbidden. All right. Because when you married a heathen woman, Jake was going off and worshiping, other gods, man. So it wasn't that. The heathen women was strictly used as concubines. That's it. That's why it was forbidden to marry them whores. Okay. However, now let's keep reading. It says, "Thou shalt not give no more thy daughter unto thy sons." All right, bam, 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 right here. Now, because his father was a Greek, he was not circumcised. For the entail of the covenant in the seal of it, as of other entails in the nation, went by the father, not by the mother, so that his father being no Jew, he was not obliged to circumcise, nor entitled to it, unless when he grew up he did himself desire. But observe, though his mother could not prevail to have him circumcised in his infancy, because his father was of another mind and way. That is key right there. His father was of another mind and way. She educated him in the fear of the Most High, so she believed. So that man, Timothy's father, had to be an Israelite. Because what? She feared the Most High. She understood her being an Israelite, and she knew damn well she couldn't deal with, couldn't be having another man of another nation popping her and talking about she feared the Lord. You see what I'm saying? That though he wanted the sign of the covenant, he might not want the sign of that. That though he wanted the sign of the covenant, he might not want the thing signified. So he was of another mind and another way. Right, so let's just get this right quick. So he was of another mind, and here it is. Look, check it out. Now, this is 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant. You know that ye were Gentiles. Remember this. Keep this in mind right here. Know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. That ye were what? Gentiles in the mind. Let's see what it says in the NLT. See what it says. See, verse 2, it says, you know that when you were still pagans, all right, how would you be a pagan? In the mind. You do practicing the cultures and ways and dressing and talking like what? Heathens, man. Okay. You see, in this particular case, the Greek fashion. You know that you were still pagans, you were led astray and swept along in worshiping speechless idols, right? So let's go back. So keep that in mind. Timothy's father was of another mind and way. He was in the Gentile mind state. He was carried away off into dumb idols, right? So let's go back to Acts 16th chapter. Acts 16, right? It says, going back to, I'm going to read it again. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, the certain disciple that was named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, right? She was a Jewess, so she believed in the Lord. So by default, she knew she couldn't deal with any other nation outside of the nation of Israel. So Timothy's father, which was Greek, had to be an Israelite. See, but his father was a Greek. Now let's check out that word Greek, right? See, Helen, right? Helen. You see? Now look, it says a Greek either by nationality. Now, like I said, Greek is not a nationality, it's a way of life. Okay? A Greek either by nationality, whether a native of mainland or of the Greek islands, colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning the Greeks their own way. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. See, now you have to take the meat and spit out. You have to take the meat and spit out the bones. Now, let's check this out. What's that guy name? The damn basketball player. Man, I don't know this dude's name. He played for the Spurs, I believe. Giannis, basketball player. I don't know. Hey man, I'm just shooting. Hey, I'm just shooting my shot here. Damn, there he is right there. Habain. I don't know how to pronounce this guy now. See, look at him. Check this out. Look at this. This right here would appears to be a straight up Israelite, which I believe that he is an Israelite, right? But he identifies what? A Greek. A Greek. You see? As a Greek Nigerian, and we know that you have a lot of Israelites over there in Nigeria because what, man? Our people fled there from Roman persecution in 70 AD, man, in the west coast of Africa, right? So this guy here is, most definitely an Israelite, man, but he identifies what? A Greek. So going back to what? Timotheus, you see, his father, which identified as a Greek. Now look, it says a Hellen, right? Now let's look up the word Hellenization. This is where the word Hellen comes from. Hellenization, right? Anything Hellenization, you go back to this, look this up, look up the definition. It says Hellenization, Hellenism is the adoption of Greek culture, culture. Remember this: religion, language, and identity by non-Greeks. You see? In an ancient period, colonization often led to the Hellenization of indigenous people. In a Hellenistic period of many territories which were conquered by Alexander the Great were Hellenized. You see? So the Japhites were conquered by Alexander the Great, man. You see? So look, the adoption of Greek culture, religion, language, and identity by non-Greeks. So what? Going into this guy, he's just Hellenized. He's Hellenized, not knowing his nationality. You see his true nationality. So now going back to Timotheus' father, which identified as a Greek, he was a Hellen. He adopted the culture, religion, language, and identity. So he was a Hellenist. Okay. So let's go back to this word Greek, and I want to point out something right quick. I hope this is making sense. I hope you're being edified. It says Helen Grecians, right? A Grecian, right? So let's go. Let's go here. Let's go here. Salakia. Let's get the history on that. Like, because you got to think about it. Here in Acts, why are Israelites here in Acts in the time of the Romans are calling themselves Greeks? Because what? You got to go look up the history of when that happened. And this is the history of when it happened. First Maccabees. Let's go. All right. It says, and it happened after Alexander. So, like, this is First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persian and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So this is when the Greeks came into power, right? And you can read about that in Daniel's the 8th chapter, right? And also Daniel's the 7th chapter. It speaks about the beast, all right? Going into what that leopard, all right? Alec, matter of fact, let's just go get it. See, and Christians don't understand the history of that. They that's what they miss. They miss the history of things. When it talks about the 8 and 21, it says, and the rough goat, because when you read up on this, it breaks itself down. Okay. I'm going to start at 20. It says, and the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Remember, right? Alexander, the son of Philip, right, had smitten Darius, the king of Persian and Medes. Ram which thou sawest having two horns. See, this is the history that Christians are missing. Reading this and thinking that it's just stories that don't matter, right? The rough goat, verse 21, the rough goat is the king of Grecia. The great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. You see? So the king of Grecia, Alexander the Great, man, the first over Greece, the first king. There's the history right there. This is why you need the Apocrypha. This is why you have to deal with the Apocrypha, And I keep looking over here because I got my phone right here to make sure, everything is still lining up. This is why you got to deal with the Apocrypha, because this is that piece of history that you Christians are missing. And that's why you can't understand why they calling themselves Greeks in the time of the Roman, in the Roman Empire. You have to go back to the history to find their history. All right. Because you had the Assyrian, the Egyptian, the Babylonians, the Persian enemies, the Greeks, the Romans, and now here in America, all right, which we are now in those 10 toes, man, mixed with miry clay. You see? So let's get back to the point. So out of Alexandria, he had 4 generals, Cassander, Ptolemy, Licinius, and Seleucus. And out of that line of Seleucus came who? Antiochus Epiphanes. Look, this is verse 9. It says, and after his death, Alexander the Great, it says, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. But he had 4 main generals. Okay. You had other ones, but you had 4 main generals. All right. Like I said, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Cassander, Licinius. All right. It says, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So when the Edomites came into power, evils multiplied in the earth. And right here, when the Greeks, which you Edomites, came into power, this started the empire of the Edomites. okay, because they reigned as the Greeks, they reigned as the Romans, and now they're reigning as the Americans, okay? So they've been reigning since Alexander the Great, all right? And there came out of them a wicked root Antiochus, surnamed Epiphany, the son of Antiochus, the king who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, so these were Edomites, man. Okay. In those days, there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had more sorrow." So you had wicked men that bowed down to that made covenants with these heathens, man. That adopted their culture, right? That adopted things of that nature, took on their ways, or practices, and the way that they dealt, and all these things, man. All right. And you still have that till today. That, these wicked niggas that love these Americans. Like, you think about your rappers, your basketball players, like this guy, right? They all in unison, right, with this devil and his ways, man. You see? So look, let's get back to the point. Right? Why they calling themselves Greeks? Why are Israelites calling themselves Greeks, right? As a nationality in the Roman Empire. All right, so this right here, what we're reading right now, is the time of the Greeks. So verse 12, so this device pleased them well, and I hope this is making sense. I hope this is edifying. It says, then certain of the people were so froward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise in Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. The place of exercise means, what we have today is a gymnasium. All right. The place of exercise, the word gym means naked. So you had a whole bunch of naked guys in the gym just being gay as hell. Okay. It says, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Right? So let me get down to it. So you had Israelites that went after the way of the Greeks. Now check this out. Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, right? Because you got to understand, Alexander the Great, he conquered the whole known world. All right. So him conquering the whole known world, Antiochus Epiphany reigning, right? These Edomites reigning. This is what he did. He wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, right? This is that the I ain't gonna say the first, because goddamn, what's that boy name? It's right at the tip of my tongue. Oh man, what was his name? Nimrod. He first tried to start one world or new world, one world government, one world order, if you will. All right. And here's what he tried at the same thing. He said that all should be one people and everyone should leave his laws. Now check this out. This is what a Hellenization of the Israelites came into play at. Remember, we read the definition, Hellenization, right? The adoption of Greek culture, religion, language, and identity by non-Greeks, right? So check this out. This is where the Hellenization of our people came, and why Israelites in the Roman Empire calling themselves Greeks. So hence why Timothy's father was calling himself a Greek. Let's read. It says, right, 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to this commandment of the king. Yea, many also of Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So you had Israelites that did these abominations, man, right? That consented to the king of Greece, of the Greeks, man. You see, consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath, right? Now let's keep reading. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanations, to the end they might forget the law and change all ordinance. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. Okay? In the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to which everyone that forsook the law, so they committed evils in the land. You see what I'm saying? So look, now they did this for, generations, right? Did they forget the law? So now when you got, but you also had certain people that kept, you had certain Israelites that stood stiffly for the law, right? You got Judas, right? And his father, right? So, but you had a lot of Israelites that did what? That they made themselves uncircumcised, right? They forgot the law and the ordinance, right? Because they was threatened with death, right? So they did this, for a few generations. So now you got, all right, these people forsook the law and they had kids, which they didn't teach the way of the Lord. They didn't teach Israelite culture. Then they had kids. They didn't teach them Israelite culture. So they wasn't calling themselves Israelites, because when you read Second Maccabees, when you read Second Maccabees, that is 6. Second Maccabees 6 and 4. It says, for the temple was filled with riot and revelings by the Gentiles, who dilated with harlots. I say that right. Delighted with harlots, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy place. See, they was profaning the temple bad. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar was filled with profane things which the law forbidded. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So therefore, if you're under a people, you're threatened by death to relinquish all the laws and culture, the culture that that you grew up to learn, that you as a people kept. You threatened by death. If you keep this, you keep your laws, then I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your children, because you had women who babies was put to death, hung, because they circumcised them. That's also written in Maccabees. So you can't even call yourself an Israelite. So if you're threatened with the penalty of death, if you were found calling yourself an Israelite or a Jew, I'm gonna say Israelite because the word Jew not supposed to be there. So if you was threatened by calling us with death by calling yourself an Israelite, and you're being governed and ruled by the Greeks, what you gonna call yourself? You're gonna call yourself a Greek. This is the history as to why, Israelites were calling themselves Greeks in the Roman Empire. Okay, because they left off their culture and customs under the reign of Antiochus Epiphanes, man, and so on and so forth. Okay. And this is why these Christians, they can't understand why it says, because they like to go to their favorite scriptures, there's neither Jew nor Greek. No, it's the simple fact that these men were calling themselves Greeks because they were Hellenized. They adopted the culture and religion of the Greeks, man. And it was unlawful for them to call themselves Israelites because they were going to be put to death. Okay? So this is the history on that. You have to understand the history because what it said, ages, mystery. I'll probably spell it. Mystery. Colossians 1:26. It says, I'm starting 25. Whereof I am made minister according to the disposition of the Most High, which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of the Most High. Because Apostle Paul, his lot was to what? The Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna make that. We're gonna hammer that in. All right, it says even, which is the mystery which had been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints, to whom the Most High will make known with the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Hamashiach in you, the hope and glory. So the mystery is that what? You know, these Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, were what? Adopted back in the faith, adopted back, you know, to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai through the faith in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, man. It wasn't about it wasn't about keeping the law, because the law condemns us, okay? Because you had the Israelites which stayed down with the customs, which kept the Passover, which kept the laws, which kept all the customs of our nation, right? They were boasting in the law, but Yahweh Shah came on the scene to let them know, to preach them, hey, it's not about the keeping of the law. The law was a shadow of things to come. Not saying you're not supposed to keep the law, but it's through the act of having faith in Hamashiach, which brings you back to the Heavenly Father, which is why he shed his blood for us to be able to be adopted back, because we were all Gentiles, you know? That was the mystery right there. I hope this is making sense. So you had the circumcision boasting, you know, about, you know, priesthood and, you know, things of all that nature. The law, you know, which this things is not of works. Salvation not coming from the keeping of the law, right? So going back to Acts 16:1, it says, right, since we got the history on that, okay, because you had the Israelites, which were Hellenized under King Antiochus Epiphanes, right? Really, Antiochus Epiphanes. He's they were Hellenized, right? So they lost their nationality, right? It fell away. You see? And so here, when it says his father was a Greek, it's not saying that he was an Edomite, man. He was Hellenized, okay? Just like this guy. He was Hellenized. This guy right here, Israelite indeed, huh? But identify as a Greek. So right here, see, Hellen, Grecian. All right, now keep that in mind. This word Grecian right here. Let's go to Acts 6:1. So Acts 6:1, it says, in those days, let me see. Let me make sure. All right. In those days, when the number of the disciples were multiplied, there arose a murmuring of Grecians, right? You would think those Grecians talking about so-called white people, Edomites, right? Because it's known in the earth that you incorporate the word Greek to the so-called white man, right? But I mean, you have to understand, Apostle Paul called himself a Roman, but we know indeed he was an Israelite. So it says there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews. So when a Christian read this, they thinking that this is, talking about so-called white people. But look, remember we just in Acts the 16th chapter, when we looked up that word Greek, it had Hellen, Grecian right next to it, right? So it says Grecian right here. So let's just go into that word Grecian. It says what? Oh God. Hellenista, right? Hellenista. Okay. It says a Hellenist, one who imitates the manner and customs or worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue. Check it out right here. It says, used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. So these were Israelites in foreign lands speaking Greek. They adopted the Greek tongue. Okay? So those Grecians, which were not white people, Edomites, they were Israelites that had the Greek tongue. All right? Grecian. See right here? Hellenist or Greek speaking Jew. Bam. Now, let's go into the NLT right here. Look what it says. But as the believers rapidly multiplied, there were rumblings and discontent. The Greek-speaking believers complained about the Hebrew-speaking believers. Okay? So it was just Israelites that spoke, that had the Greek tongue. All right, so that's why you have to go into words. So Timothy's father was not a Greek; he was an Israelite. That he was a Hellenist. That he adopted the customs and culture and religion of the Greeks. He wanted nothing to do with the Israelite nationality, Israelite culture. He wanted nothing to do with it. But he was indeed an Israelite. All right, you see. Let's go here. Acts 11. Acts 11 and all right, 19. It says, meanwhile, not the NLT. Let's go right here. We're going to get the NLT, but let's go right here right now. It says, now, this is Acts 11 and 19. It says, now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen, traveled as far as Phoenix, Cyprus, and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only, right? And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Yahushua. And you have Christians that read this and think that, see, they were preaching to the Grecians, huh? The Greeks were white people. Indeed, they were. But you had Israelites that identified as Greeks. Now, when you go into this, let's read 21. It says, now, this is key. It says, and the hand of the Lord was with them, right? And a great number believed and turned to the Lord. Now, let's read this in the NLT. Let's see what it says in the NLT. It says, I'm going to go straight to 20. It says, however, some believers who went to Antioch from Cyprus and Cyrene began preaching to the Gentiles. Hold up. Let's go back. It says, we're going to read the same verse 20. It said, however, some believers who went to Antioch from Cyprus began to preaching to the Gentiles about the Lord Yahushua. The power of the Lord was with them, and a large number of these Gentiles believed and turned to the Lord. So I want to read that over. Now let's get it in the NLT. It says, however, some of the believers went to Antioch from Cyprus and Cyrene and began preaching to the Gentiles about the Lord Yahushua. The power of the Lord was with them, and a large number of these Gentiles believed and turned to the Lord. You see? See, it says these Gentiles. But remember, look, it says right here in the KJV, it says Grecians, right? In the KJV, it says Grecians. Now, when you go into that word Grecians, is what? Jews that were born in foreign lands speaking Greek. So these Jews, these Grecians were what? Israelites. And when you read it in the NLT, those same Grecians that it's speaking about identify as Gentiles. Right? Come on, man. Get off the screen. Gentiles. Look, and the power of the Lord was with them, and a large number of these Gentiles believed in the Lord. But these Gentiles were Jews that had the Greek tongue. So that lets you know right then and there, there's two type of Gentiles. The word Gentile is universal, right? It's spelled the same, but has different meaning. You have Gentiles, which are the actual Gentiles, which are heathens, and you got Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, okay? So it's a universal word, like it's spelled the same, but it has two different meanings. Like I said, one would be the heathens and one would be Israelite foreigners. So you have to read it in context, all right? Con with text scriptures. Like the word hood. You could be like, my nigga, I'm from the hood. Spell that word hood. Hood, right? I'm from the hood. Hood. That's what that means. I'm from the hood, this block, this whatever you want to call it. Or you can say, pop the hood. Spell that word hood. Hood. It's universal. This is the bastard English language. That's what it's done. So this is why you need the prophets to break down the Bible, man. Okay? So Timothy, let's go. Timothy's father, let's read it again. Acts 16:1. Paul went first to Derbe, and then to Lystra, where there was a young disciple named Timothy. His mother was a Jewish believer, but his father was a Greek. Oh, that's an NLT. However, the point is that they said that his father was a Greek, but we know by doing a diligent search and reading about the history, this is why he identified as a Greek, because he was Hellenized. Okay? Timothy's father was Hellenized, and we know that if his mother was a believer, she know that she could not be dealing with a nation outside of her nation, which by default makes Timothy's father an Israelite. That's simple. Okay? So you had Israelites identifying as Greeks, right? Check this out. Acts 22. Bam. Okay. It says, this is Acts 22 and 25. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said, and we know that Paul was what? Paul was an Israelite. All right. Matter of fact, let's real quick, let's go get that. Let's just prove that Paul was an Israelite. Romans 11:1, it says, I say then had the Most High cast away his people? Most High forbid. For I am also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, Benjamin. All right. That's Apostle Paul. But this is Acts 22 and 25. It says, and as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? So Paul called himself a Roman. Was he a Roman? No, he was a Roman. Roman again is not nationality. It's a way of life. Do as the Romans do. Like the Greeks. It's not a nationality. It's a way of life. Okay. So yeah, Timothy's father was a Israelite indeed. Okay. So with that, Lord willing, you're edified. Shalom.